Welcome, Chris, to the interview on the 12-week year. Get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. So, quick bio on Chris. Chris is the CIO for HR Certification Institute, and he and his team are responsible for setting and executing HRCI's technology strategy. So glad to have you here today, and we're going to talk about your experience with the 12-week year.
Fantastic! I'm excited to be back, Maura, and share about how the 12-week year has helped to both plan and implement plans at HRCI.
Terrific. Okay. Do you remember the first time you applied the 12-week year framework?
Yes. So the first time I started at my current organization end of April, and I think the first time was when we were thinking about Q3, maybe end of Q2, Q3 plans for my current organization. And I think it was the first time that I met you more in person, and what I thought was fantastic is that the executive team was in a room thinking through things together, and some organizations don't do that. Some organizations don't bring executives together to strategically plan your next implementation cycle, and it was great to be able to. For me, this first one, it was a way to both get into our strategies of the organization, but build relationships with my colleagues on the executive team and to learn more about them.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now, you've been through, I don't know, 4 cycles of the 12-week year. Is that right? Something like that. What happened over each time you did it? What was your experience?
So a few things. So first is that our executive team got better at it. I remember the first 12-week year. The first 12-week year planning session, we had to rush through on day 2. I think one of the last strategies that we put in place more. Then I think the second and third sessions, it only took like half a day to get through them all. So we got much better at it, and the reason we got better was we understood what it means to focus and to focus both during the session, but focus the organization's efforts on the things that are most important. And that meant that we very quickly decided on the initiatives that had the highest value to us, put those down, and then broke those bigger initiatives into smaller problems to solve. And we built that muscle. And by building that muscle, both the planning session itself was much shorter, and then the implementation was more efficient.
And how did you apply the 12-week year during the pandemic?
Part of the 12-week year is the ability to break bigger problems or these initiatives into smaller problems that you try to solve, or tactics or problems. So during the pandemic, we've had to adapt and pivot. We've had to adapt and pivot. And one of the critical parts of being able to pivot and adapt very quickly is to take a very complex initiative or problem and break it down into smaller ones so that you can figure out what is the best way to think big and start small. So what is the best way to iterate toward towards something? Because we don't have much time to get things done. So we can't wait like a year and a half to go to market with a new product. So the 12-week year, it's a good way to be able to do that, where you're thinking bigger but starting smaller by breaking it down in into different problems. So for example, during the pandemic, we were the first to market with an online proctored product for HR certifications. So the first ever to market. Extremely fulfilling. Um, that's another story about uh, about how how exciting it was. But we were able to do that because we thought about what are the smaller problems that we want to solve with this and what's most important, and then we went to market with it.
Congratulations, Chris. That's impressive. I mean, and so the 12-week year gave you the framework of, what did you say? Vision, what does it? Start big, but chunk down to small.
Yeah.
What would say that again? That's a really powerful statement.
So think big and start small.
Think big, start small. Great. And how is there a connection with your zone of genius in the 12-week year?
Yes, in terms of the implementation. So part of the 12-week year is to think about what are all the activities that need to be done to reach a goal. And for me, the connection is for the activities that need to be done. When we actually begin to work on those activities, uh, it it helps me with my own delegation of those activities to my team. So the connection is that I focus on the activities, or I I prefer to focus on the activities that are in my zone of genius, and then delegate the activities that aren't. And all these activities roll up to that bigger goal that that is set during the 12-week year planning period.
And as a leader, using this 12-week year framework, what has that done for your team?
uh, it's provided much more focus and structure. One important uh, 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 thing about being an effective leader in my experience. So I've become more effective as I've been able to increase the focus of my team on key things instead of leaving it up to my team to figure out what's important. That's one thing, or leaving it up to my team to having to have sometimes hard conversations with stakeholders saying, yeah, you know what, uh, 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 we're not going to get to it because we don't have time. So those hard prioritization conversations. And then third thing, uh, leaving it up to my team to 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 feel like they can't say no, and to be totally stretched across all these things that they're doing and spread thin. So the 12-week year has helped me be a more effective leader in providing that the things that the team needs to focus on in the upcoming quarter. And that framework then makes it much easier for my team if they have to have those conversations where they're talking about priorities and values. They can always go back to the priorities that were set during the 12-week year, and all of that makes for better employee engagement or team engagement, and 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 the team feels like they're progressing. So that's the other thing about the 12-week year, is that when you break out these these initiatives into smaller problems, you can see your progression, and you can see goal accomplishment, because you can check off these things, and you know that by the time I check off my 8 activities, I will have accomplished that bigger 12-week year goal.
Great. Yes, it's amazing how when you chunk it down, you actually move the needle, and it's the taking those small actions or the big actions
Right.
in that 12-week. It's one of the best roadmaps that I have discovered in doing strategy and execution,
Yeah.
and so this zone of genius and the 12-week year combination for leaders. What would you say to the students about the combination for you, and what that would be helpful for them?
Hmm. So for me, the combination is zone of genius. Zone of genius uh, is provides my own internal compass for 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 how I want to show up at work every day. So that's my own internal compass. The 12-week year provides provides the compass around uh, what are the actions or the tasks that my team needs to be doing every day. And I think that blend is really, really powerful for me as a leader, where I can use my zone of genius to guide my leadership philosophy and principles and interactions, and then my team can use the 12-week year to guide their day-to-day tasks.
Mm, wonderful. Thank you, Chris, so much for being the leader who other people want to work for. Ah, wonderful. Thank you again for your time, and I'm so excited to share this with the students.